Well, I can firmly say this without a doubt. The Red Wings have added players at the deadline.
And thank God.
Definitely much needed help for sure for this upcoming stretch, especially since
hmm
now we are in the dreaded month of March. But what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Hockey in the 313 podcast. I'm your host, Keegan, joined by Zach today. No other guests today or other people today. I think definitely Hunter Six. We're hoping he gets better, and everybody else was just busy. So understandable. Happy to do a two man podcast today. So,
hmm
all right, might as well just jump right into it. If we want to talk about the trade deadline, just in general, Wings made a statement at this deadline, and I think for the team in general, for their play and how they've been playing the last couple months or throughout the season in general, they've earned what they got at the trade deadline. Obviously, you added David Perron back, and the biggest add was adding Justin Faulk at the deadline. So, huge name that we added. But start off with David Perron, acquired from the Ottawa Senators for a conditional fourth round pick. That fourth round pick could be a third round pick if he plays about, I think, 50% of his games and plays in the playoffs. So basically, still a fourth round pick, and somehow if he doesn't play at all, it basically is nothing at that point. Um, 49 games played, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points. So he is almost half a point per game player for the amount of games that he's played. I know he just got hernia surgery, so he's coming back from that. McClellan did say that he'd be about 2 weeks away from skating, but he is skating with, or not skating, but from returning to the lineup. He has been skating with the team so far from the practices that they have had. No contact. Obviously, don't want him to get hurt, but should be on the right track. A lot of positive things with this. You get a veteran leader back in the locker room, very familiar with the organization as he played from 2022 to 2024. So, and was a big part of our 23-24 season when we were really getting close to that playoff picture. So, especially the last game of the season where his goal ultimately almost got us into the playoffs if it wasn't for
Oh
Philly
yeah.
pulling the goalie. So, really love this ad. I know a lot of Wings fans are like, well, why do you add a guy like that? Like, why you bring back an injured and older David Perron? Veteran leadership, I think he meshes well with a lot of those younger guys, especially with Larkin and Raymond. I think he was a big part of that locker room, and they definitely missed it the last year that he was gone. So, really happy to have him back, and I think he provides a lot, not only on the power play. I think he can play bumper on the power play, which we definitely need for sure, but also really works hard in the boards too. So I think that's a big part of his game, and I think that really meshes well with McClellan's system.
Yeah, I mean, Keen, like you said, we needed that great veteran leadership, and that's what Perron was when he was with Detroit. And I think you could see like Sider praising him as well with his return. At first, with this trade, I was just a little bit frustrated because I thought this was the move. Like, it's kind of like the Peter Mrazek move last year. That was
And
like the only big move, I guess.
and,
But I
and
think I made other moves, but yeah, the more the more I've seen it, I kind of like this Perron trade, and I guess there's rumors of him returning in like a weekish.
about a week.
I guess.
So I think if you're not counting this week, about a week. So, but I will say, I think you can tell everybody is really happy with Smooth, not only organizational wise, but I think a lot of the players really are excited to have him back with the team and just to have that impact and play meaningful hockey. I think without him, you saw that maybe that leadership group kind of took a step back a little bit. Not saying that Sider and Raymond haven't grown as leaders, but you could tell like it was kind of a mess without him, and you're really glad to have a guy like that, especially a locker room guy. So,
Mm.
um, and I think a lot of Wings fans too could agree. Like, if this was our only move, like, what the heck were we doing? But um, I thought it was a
Mm.
good trade regardless, considering that it's only a fourth round conditional fourth round pick, could be a third round pick, but I'm not mad with what we gave up. I think he is making, I think it is like 5.4 million this year, but you're
hmm
not really worried about cap.
Still have tons of cap.
Yeah, we have tons of cap, so you're not really worried about that, especially since he'll be a free agent at the off in the end of the season too, and most likely we re-sign a guy like that too. So I think
I
that's a
will add too. I thought Perron played pretty well against us that one time he was on Ottawa. We played against him. It's like our first meeting.
he,
He was constantly in front of the net and whatever. He had some good chances against us, I thought.
well, it's almost like you know the systems a little bit, so you know how to kind of
Hmm.
work around certain guys. So it's like, oh, like I know how to maneuver the system and play the game the right way. So um, also big to mention too. Kind of forgot to mention, but in Ottawa when he did play in the playoffs, 6 games played, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points, and
It's kind
that
of solid.
that's really solid for a guy
Hmm.
in his late 30s. So I think that's a big thing too. Is he contributes in the playoffs when
Hmm.
he's there, and I think get a guy like that hot at the right time. I think he definitely helps. Not to mention, I know kind of another thing, but he's not playing in the top 6 anymore. I mean, he's a bottom 6 guy, so he definitely rounds out that bottom 6 a lot more. Definitely made some questions for some other guys at some point, but we'll get that to that in a second. But I really like it. I think it makes sense for this group, and I think it really adds depth to our team, and that's something we've lacked 5-on-5 too is depth scoring.
Hmm.
So I'm really happy that we added a guy like that. But if we're moving on to another trade, really sad for a lot of Wings fans. Elmer Soderblom headed off to Pittsburgh for 2026 third round pick, which I believe was San Jose's. Um,
Hmm.
it sucks. Yeah, he wasn't playing minutes here, unfortunately. Was productive for a little bit towards the end of the season last year when he got called up, but it just seemed like the writing was on the wall with him. Wasn't really getting the minutes that he really needed to succeed in Detroit, and at the same time, I think we probably botched his development a little bit, kind of keeping him up and down. And I mean, Pittsburgh got one heck of a player. I know they'll probably utilize him a little bit in different scenarios, but I mean that's a weird situation you're going into Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh is kind of coming out of a weird retool, but they're still in a retool. So
I mean, yeah, Kyle Dubas is a big asset guy. He knows what he's doing with in regards to that. I forgot how many picks they had this year. I think it's a lot though.
they had a ton. I think
Hmm.
um, I don't know, but they've done a really good job with asset management and just getting value out of guys too. I know they were
Hmm.
looking to trade Skinner at one point too in the season, so makes sense. Why wouldn't you? But um,
And I do want to glaze their drafting a little bit with Ben Kindle. He's been really good.
yeah, that definitely has helped them. It
Hmm.
it definitely feels a lot like the Capitals of last year, where the Capitals had such a big bounce back, and you kind of see that with Pittsburgh. I'm like, this feels very Washington Capitals esque, and obviously for a while there, the Capitals were in playoff contention, and now it's like, oh, like they fell off. So I wonder if it's a 1 year off thing or for Pittsburgh, but I feel like it shouldn't be too bad for the most part. I
Mm.
think you get a little bit younger, you add a decent amount of depth, but I think honestly, it's like I said, it sucks to lose a guy like that for sure. I think he we're really tight with a lot of the younger guys and came through our system, and I think a lot of people really
Hmm.
enjoyed the game that he played. I know his first game in the NHL as I think was a 7th round pick or 4th round pick. I forgot when he got drafted, but it was a later round,
Uh,
and
I think it was 2020. Yeah,
yep.
I
But
remember watching him too at the World Juniors because
the between
you
the
know,
legs
big
goal.
kid. Yeah, and the skill he has. I always thought he was an interesting prospect, and there were some aspects he had. I think he played for Frölunda.
Played with
Uh,
Edvinson too, so that definitely
yeah.
probably sucks for Edvinson too, losing a good buddy like that too. So,
Hmm.
but
But yeah, like you said, there just wasn't any room for him. It felt like you were sending him up and down, and he wasn't getting his chances weren't going his way too. He kind of struggled a little bit.
offensively, and he showed up a little bit towards the beginning of the year, and then it just kind of all
Hmm.
fell apart. And
And I
it
would have liked to see him use his body too.
for his size and
Hmm.
and what you're kind of expecting, we would have expected him to use his body a little bit more. Would have loved him on the power play. Kind of just put him net front. Being that tree that he is out
Yeah.
there. but never kind of came to fruition. We'll definitely miss him. Most iconic moment from him, in my opinion, has to be the Montreal home opener where he scored his first goal.
Hmm.
It was the Redwood line with Rasmussen and Sundqvist. So definitely a moment we won't forget for sure. So
I was so hyped for that. Yeah.
I think everybody was, and it was a good
Hmm.
turnaround too because we that was kind of when we added some different pieces. Like we got Kubalik in free agency, we got Cop.
Hmm.
I think that was Cop's first year, and we
Same with
add
Comfort, right? Or was that
nope,
the year
that was
after?
the year after.
Mm.
But I think we added Pierce Suter, or we had them the year before. But I can't remember. I think that was the offseason we added him.
Hmm.
But either way, we'll miss him. Really sucks to lose a guy like that, especially since a lot of us saw him play through Grand Rapids up until this point. So all the best of luck in Pittsburgh with him. But um, now moving on to the biggest trade. Detroit was looking for a defenseman. It was reported for a while now that we've been looking and searching for a top four defenseman right shot, and we got that. Justin Faulk heads to the Detroit Red Wings. St. Louis in return gets a 2026 first round pick, a 2026 third round pick, which was San Jose's that we got in the Elmer Soderblom trade, and Justin Hall and prospect. Uh, I'm blanking on the first name for some reason.
Buchelnikov.
Bunchelnikov.
Hmm.
I knew the last name, but
Yeah.
I kind of forgot the
Dmitry.
Dmitry Bunchenkov. Um, Kind of breaking that down, I really like the trade. I really think it was a big need for us, especially with how we've been utilizing Axel Sandin Pellikka. He's done extremely well being in that top four this year. I think this is the most amount of games he's played in his entire career, so I understand kind of limiting his role a little bit, kind of giving him a little bit benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, this is the biggest amount of games or most amount of games you've played in an entire season, so let's kind of give you a little bit of rest, kind of, you know, monitor your minutes a little bit, and then we'll make sure that they're developing properly. They're not doing it because they're frustrated with this game. I think they're just doing it because they realized,
Hmm.
you know, it wears and tears on your body. So kind of helps monitor his minutes a lot more, but also gives you a solidified decor with Edvinsson and Sider on the first pairing and Schrott and projected Justin Falk on that second pairing and Johansson and ASP on that third pair. So that knocks out JBD and Hamonic. If they were to ever come in, probably Ajo would be out or ASP. Just kind of, like I said, monitoring his minutes, making sure that, in different situations that he kind of succeeds. But um, for Justin Falk, 31 games or 61 games, 11 goals, 21 assists for 32 points. -3. You kind of expect that with defensemen, but on a bad
Hmm.
St. Louis team, producing with the amount that he has been really phenomenal. So I'm really happy with his production and what he can bring to the Wings, not only for our top four, but in general, power play too. He'll probably be on that second unit, kind of replacing ASP. Like I said, once again, sheltering his minutes, but also just solidifying a good shutdown line with Sherratt and Falk and a little bit of offensive upside too. So I think that would be a really great line going forward for the Wings.
I mean, yeah, with Falk, I mean, at first I'm like, why the hell are we even thinking of Falk? Like, what? And then I did the research and I'm like, holy shit, he's actually kind of good defensively.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I,
another thing too. Is he's not only
this
is
is
he
why you gotta do your research, everyone.
right. Um, yeah, no, I love like I love the move. Not only just for the fact that, oh my god, we actually made a big move for the deadline, but it shows that the team got rewarded for their play. So they've been playing really well up until this point, and they got rewarded for it. Sometimes you got to make the moves to move some guys out like Elmer, but I think adding a guy like Justin Falk, who has some good playoff experience with Carolina and
Hmm.
St. Louis, he's been really productive in the playoffs. In the one time that he made it with Carolina, 15 games, 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points. Obviously, as a defenseman, but he was a big part of that that group kind of going forward before he left for St. Louis in free agency, and was really really good um, in regards to St. Louis when they did make the playoffs for those couple of years. But um, last year when he did make the playoffs, 7 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. Not bad as a defenseman. So I consider that really good for a defenseman, especially in his early 30s. So
I do want to also like just briefly talk about Faulk and the advanced stuff. I like to go on StatPed for advanced stats or whatever, and if you just look at his shot map, you see a lot of blue in the defensive zone or in front of the net, and which is what you typically want to see in a defenseman, and it's only the red spots, which is like the shots are getting off, is just around the perimeter. So I mean, that's exactly what we need. And then also I looked on hockey stat cards. He's like in the 82nd percentile in defensive rating. And then with both those sites as well, they show his offensive rating a little bit low. But I would imagine we were going to use him, yeah, like you said, in the power play 2, just be that puck mover, just up along the neutral zone as well, hopefully. And I've been watching more highlights of him, and it looked like he's kind of stopping those zone entries right along the blue line with open ice hits. At least that's what I saw. I don't know if it was this season or last season, but
I mean, he
I
tends
just thought it was
to
interesting.
lay the body a decent amount too. So
Hmm.
I'm you get a physical defenseman and also willing to stand up for his teammates too. I know he's not
Yeah.
afraid to back down from fights as kind of previously kind of seen in whether it was Carolina or in St. Louis. But um, yeah, I think also to mention with this trade, it is an unprotected first round pick. I know a lot of people were really kind of upset about it. In this market, especially since it was a seller's market, you got to give up something. And I felt like,
Hmm.
for what they were asking, it was a good trade. You also offloaded Justin Hall. Oh no. How shall we ever live without Justin Hall, our Lord and Savior? Totally didn't screw up our defense for 2 years.
But
But
my thing with like offloading Justin Hall, like he's up this year, so like I don't know how big of an impact we had or that was going to be, or maybe St. Louis wanted him for another right-handed
I believe it was
defenseman.
purely just money based. You had to
Oh,
make the money work the other way, so they didn't have the cap floor. But
okay.
obviously, another big piece is Dmitry Bunchenkov going the other way. I know a lot of Wings fans are really upset with that, especially in the Wings case. You have so many assets. You didn't give up any of the big names like Danielson, MBN, Plant. I consider that a win. Now,
Hmm.
yes, Bunchenkov, his ceiling is really high. It's like a Kaprizov type ceiling, but I know Wing Wheel Podcast mentioned this before. His ceiling could be a Bergeron too. You just don't know with these players, especially prospects, where it is very fluky. Like they could be doing really well at one level, and all of a sudden, it doesn't translate to the NHL, and that can
Hmm.
happen for any player. So, um, while it sucks to lose a really good prospect in Bunchenkov, I never thought he'd be in a in a trade deal. But because we always thought it would be Danielson or somebody else that they would give up. But
Hmm.
I think for what they gave up and it being only one of their prospects and not one of the top name prospects that we have, I consider that a win. So St. Louis obviously gets a lot younger, what they wanted, and draft capital, which helps them too down the road. But
I mean, I would say this about the trade. I wish it was a 2027 pick, even though I mean it could be risky because you don't know ahead of next season. But
right,
I'm
especially
just
with
saying,
how stacked the draft class is this year
yeah,
too.
I'm just saying that because I think there are some guys who could fall to the late first round that I would like on this team. But either way, that just means like we got to make the playoffs now or whatever. And
Exactly. Like best case scenario for that pick is we make playoffs and it's
hmm
17th, 18th, depending on if we make or get past the
early
first round.
20s, whatever.
Early
Yeah.
20s. Worst case scenario is we start dropping games like flies and we
Hmm.
don't really win games, which I don't think is the case. I know a lot of people are kind of freaking out about that right now, especially with how they've been playing as of late, but I look at it this way. You added at the deadline. Those guys haven't been totally in the lineup as of right now. You get those guys in the lineup, I feel like it's gonna be a lot better. So, um, that's just me personally, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely. And I put it into this kind of philosophy is Larkin called out Yzerman last year in the end of the year press
Yeah.
conference saying we needed to add pretty much at the deadline, and it sucked that we didn't. And you could tell he was frustrated with that. The team showed up and and proved that they could add at this deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Yzerman saw that, acknowledged it, and did it. Now the players have to put that forward and saying, "I gave you what you asked for. Now it's time for you to finish the job," pretty much. So,
Yeah, and sorry, I'm going back a little bit to the
no, go
trade,
right ahead.
but so I know fans are like upset still with it, but like we have we still have a ton of good prospects. Like I'd easily value MBN, like you said, MBN Bear,
I did forget to
Plant,
add Barron to that too,
yeah,
but
even Yenborg as well over Buchelnikov because like the KHL isn't like it used to be. Like there's some red flags I guess with Buchelnikov with his he's just a little bit light on his feet, and I guess his frame as well. So we just have to see if that part would develop into the NHL, and like the defense in the KHL it's kind of falling apart. I've seen a lot of pylons and watching guys over
yeah,
there.
not to mention it's not always a guarantee that you're going to get those guys coming back from Russia too. So
Yeah.
maybe Bunchenkov is one of those guys that stays in the KHL his entire career, and and at the end of the day, it looks like a win for the Wings. But
Yeah.
um,
And then in regards to Yzerman trading, like I think this obviously had to be the year. Like if you look at us in the standings, we're not like I think 4 points ahead now because CBJ got a point yesterday. But
unfortunate.
mhm. Compared to other years, like we were just barely on that line. We were barely on that thread, and I think Yzerman is a very cautious GM, and like he just wants to make sure that this could work as well because with the trade deadline, there's a lot of teams hiking up these middle six players or whatever, these middle guys because they're basically rentals, and obviously what we've heard from the most is Yzerman wants term and whatever.
And he
So
got that with Faulk, so you have half a
yeah.
year this year and control over next year. And I believe you would extend a guy like Justin Faulk at the same
Mhm.
time too, just because how valuable he is. But I think he also fits the timeline of kind of that Larkin to Brinkett window. You're
Yeah.
trying to contend with those guys. You're also trying to give Kane a shot at the playoffs too. How long is he going to be here? So you're trying to do right by the players in that sense. So I think not
Mhm.
only does it help those younger guys maybe get to the finish line of what we hope is a decent playoff run or round, depending on how you view it. But
Mhm.
um, you know,
And yeah, I'm just hoping like with this trade it kind of puts us like in a placebo effect for our team. Like I guess Larkin, it looked like he kind of felt dejected that like or frustrated even that we didn't, trade for anybody last year. And now when Yzerman makes his trade, like I'm just hoping it sparks the players, them thinking, they can do this, they can, push themselves into the playoffs because I mean we've seen it with this team earlier this season. Now it kind of looks like the wheels are falling off a little bit, but
not to
we just got
mention,
to hang on. Hmm.
sorry, not to mention too, just the impact of those players that we did bring in and how impactful they have been when they are healthy. Obviously, Perron
Hmm.
being hurt doesn't really help, but with Falk, how impactful he's been not only on good St. Louis teams but bad St. Louis teams too. So this year, was a really bad year so far for St. Louis, but he's been relatively really good on a bad St. Louis team. So
Hmm.
obviously, you're really hoping that he provides a lot not only on the power play but also just eating minutes, which we
Hmm.
need, especially since we've been sheltering ASB
Especially in
for
the
as
second pair, yeah.
absolutely. So that definitely helps rounds out your defense, but also cleans up your defensive game. I know you're kind of talking about in front of the net. I love how he's the guy that'll be in front of the net. I feel like a lot of guys, especially in our team, really don't get in front of the net as much anymore. So I'm glad that he's a
I
guy
I
that'd
think
be
it's a
willing to
little
do.
bit better this year than in years past, obviously, but it's
Definitely,
still.
definitely better, but
Hmm.
could always improve.
Yeah,
But that's just
definitely.
um, one thing I will add before we kind of move on to other trades that kind of happened in the NHL.
Mhm.
Um, when the Perron trade happened, it was so funny. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is my David Perron game issued jersey.
Oh, that's
I got
awesome.
this at um, the team, uh, the equipment sale last year, and it's funny because this jersey is a playoff set from 23-24.
Oh man.
So this is the jersey they could have worn um, if they didn't miss playoffs that won by pretty much nothing. Obviously, the Capitals won it because of an empty netter, but just the impact he had on this team and the memories from that season carries on. And this has been my lucky jersey all year, so I feel like it's a really funny coincidence because I've been wearing it, and I'm like, man, like anytime I wear this thing, like luck is on our side. And then we go trade for Perron. I'm like,
Mm.
not only is it a more relevant jersey now, but at the same time, like maybe luck was on our side and we got him back, and that's a glue guy that can help us get to the finish line.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he has the same number as he did uh back when he was with us.
57,
Mm.
yep,
Mm.
it's confirmed, and 72, Faulk will wear 72.
Oh,
So the first time since Andreas Athanasiou to wear number 72, which is
oh yeah.
hilarious. But
They had
moving,
some moments, or he had some moments.
yeah.
Hmm.
But moving on to other trades that kind of happened in NHL or notable ones. Really silent deadline for the most part, I'd say. We had a lot more kind of moves towards the end. I know the Wings were on Tyler Myers for a little bit. He went to Dallas, obviously Dallas native, a little bit closer to home for his
I
kids.
also heard like he's the I think first Texas native on Dallas. Like
First Texas native to ever play for the Dallas Stars, so
yeah,
that's really cool.
there's been some Texas prospects coming up. I know a couple in this year's draft. If you want to look at like J.P. Hurlburt as well, like Texas hockey's growing. It looks like.
Yeah. And shout out
Hmm.
Next Gen Prospects. So check it out. He'll probably upload some stuff on that too. Little
Oh
shameless
yeah.
plug. But
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Braden Shen got moved to the Islanders, which was a crazy move. I know one of my good buddies, Michael Bartner, was going full Frank the Tank to say the least about that move. Was not happy about it. Doesn't make sense whatsoever to me for that team, but obviously they feel
It
like
kind of
he's
felt like a
a good
Lou
leader.
move,
It did. It very much felt
almost
like a
like
Lou
a.
move.
Like I feel
uh,
like the Islanders should be more younger. Yeah, you got
they,
Schaefer now, and
I would say try and get younger for sure, and they did not do that with that
yeah.
move.
I mean, it's
Jason
nice that you're
Dickinson.
going to playoffs. Hmm.
Well, the standings are super tight in the East right now, so I think they're currently out of a playoff spot, but
Oh,
they'll get. I
I
think
thought they were third
they're
right now. They're still
maybe I'm not too sure. I haven't checked
in the
the Metro.
Metro.
I'm more worried about the Atlantic the
Mm.
Atlantic at this point.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
Colton Parayko almost got moved to Buffalo, which is crazy. He did not waive his no movement clause. Crazy to think
Hmm.
about. Jason Dickinson, Colton Dock, and Connor Murphy all went to the Oilers. Stan Bowman loves his Blackhawks apparently, so he had to acquire some Blackhawks
I will
players.
say that's
Which
yeah. Those are some good defensive pickups by the Oilers. We'll see how Dickinson
Connor
does
Murphy
in
rounds
the
out
Oilers
their.
system. Yeah, Connor
I
Murphy's got
loved
some really
Connor
good
Murphy.
defensive analytics.
hmm
Yeah,
Kind of rounds out
I
their
really wanted
defensive
him.
core too.
Hmm.
Really surprising move. John Carlson got moved from the Capitals to the Anaheim Ducks. Shocker move at like 12 at night. Ovi was not happy about it. He was super sad about that
Hmm.
move, and understandable. I mean, it makes sense why you'd be upset. You spend your whole career with somebody, but also the impact leadership he had for that team. It it was crucial, and I think for the Capitals, it made sense to kind of move off of those older guys and get younger and kind of commit to what would be kind of more of a retool rebuild, kind of focus on more of those younger guys like a Hudson and Leonard and
Hmm.
all those.
Oh yeah, there's definitely rumors of him signing his ELC and then playing 9 games.
I think
I'll
that'll be
definitely
the
be interested
case.
in watching that. Hmm.
I think that'll most likely happen, especially if they're out of it. Calgary
Like
moved
BU's kind of struggling this
Mackenzie
year.
Weegar to BU has struggled massively for sure. Same with BC too.
Hmm.
I mean, there's only a couple more games before
Yeah, oh yeah,
maybe
definitely
James
them.
Hagen's. But moving on to
I would love to
Calgary,
see that too.
Um, but moving to Calgary, Calgary traded Mackenzie Weegar for 3 seconds to Utah. So good move on Utah to get a really solid defenseman, and they moved Nazem Kadri back to Colorado. You kind of felt like that was coming at some point. They were pretty much linked to him the whole time. Notable names that did not get moved at the deadline: Sergei Bobrovsky was in some rumors. Jordan Binnington, Stuart Skinner, Anthony Stolarz. I kind of figured Bob wouldn't move just because he has a winning culture in you know Florida.
And I heard,
Not to mention,
I think they want a like 2-year contract. I heard
yeah, which makes
potentially at the end of
sense
the year.
for that
Hmm.
team. You have it such a short window, you might as well. Joining Binnington, I'm surprised he didn't go to the Oilers. At this point, I'm surprised that they
I
didn't
didn't.
address it with how bad
I didn't
Jarry's
really
been.
know if he would have been traded. Really, like I didn't
I think
hear like barely anything. I was all
I heard
smoke.
rumors of it, but Anthony Stolarz was the name that was out there. I didn't think they were going to trade
Oh
him.
yeah.
Stuart Skinner, I know they were looking to move him again, which is funny.
Mm.
Um, Buffalo acquires Logan Stanley and Luke Shen. I don't like that move personally, and they also added
Mm.
Sam Carrick and Tanner Pearson. I don't like the moves that they made. I think that's kind of a not great move, especially for Logan Stanley and Luke Shen. Like I know Stanley's been playing pretty decent, but Luke Shen is offensively and defensively a liability on defense when that's
Yeah.
your job. But I feel like for Logan Stanley too is from what I've heard from a lot of Jets fans and just friends in general, is he's not good. This has been a very big year for him points wise and production wise, and I know a lot of Wings fans and a lot of our good friends were poking at the idea of Logan Stanley. I'm like, I don't want Logan Stanley. It reeks
I
1 year
just
wonder,
Yeah, I feel like it's
contract
a
year,
copy
gets
and
paid.
paste. A copy and paste for like what we already have.
Exactly. Like it don't don't make those mistakes. Like and
I
I'm
don't I don't really target size. We just need, guys who can defend
not to
and
mention,
yeah.
yeah, just all around guys, and I think like I said, one
Mhm.
off 1 year wonder, gets paid, doesn't do jack. So I feel like that's a very Buffalo move, funny enough. Um
I
but
think Luke Shen is an interesting piece though for Buffalo.
it really is, considering he hasn't been like the greatest of liabilities, I guess, if that makes any
Mhm.
sense. Also, worth mentioning too, Minnesota added a decent amount trading for Bobby Brink for Juracek. At this point, Juracek's a bust. You get a really solid guy, and Bobby Brink really loved that ad for them, and the
He's a really fun guy.
a
Mhm.
really fun guy. And the Foligno brothers are reunited, so really happy
I
about
I
that.
really like that trade,
Yeah,
yeah.
it warms my heart considering I have younger siblings. Was fortunate to play a game with my younger sibling for hockey,
Mhm.
so it was really a really fun moment. And I always feel for the brothers playing together. Like I feel like it's so cool. Um,
Yeah. I once played against my brother too. Well, I played house hockey and he played travel. So it was like an exhibition game or whatever,
mm,
and like we took the opening face off. It was awesome.
yeah, that's
Like
sick.
I didn't I was never a center, so I didn't really know what to do.
I'm trying to think of other moves that happened. Nick Dowd got moved to the Knights. Bruins
Hmm.
really didn't do anything. Corey Perry went back to Tampa for a second. My
I think that
opinion, that's an
was
overpay,
yeah.
major overpay. But he scored in his debut, so it kind of works.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Shoot.
And then Scott Lawton got moved to L.A.,
Hmm.
which is kind of a weird move considering that they traded Warren Fogle to the Senators, and Bobby McMahon went to Seattle. Yeah,
Another middle sixer to the Kraken.
pretty much. And they're
Hmm.
gonna pay him like it too, which is funny, which is hilarious too.
Hmm.
And then Nicholas Wall went to Colorado too. So just kind of listing off a lot of odds and ends. Probably forgot a decent amount. Oh, Garland went to the Blue Jackets. Forgot about that
Hmm.
move. Bunting to Dallas. Um, Trying to think of other names that kind of happened. Sherwood, we kind of talked on different podcasts, but I think that's it for moves. But obviously, kind of a slower deadline, and I really like how um, it's really funny how like years past, like a lot of teams would utilize that LTAR, and
Mm-hmm.
now you can't really utilize it. Not to mention the double salary retention. Can't really do that anymore either. So I think it's a better league for it. You know, you're not trying to have any loopholes with the LTIR and you know, trying to get the salaries down a lot lower than they should be.
Mm-hmm.
So really happy about that. And
I
worth
think that
mention,
also. Sorry, I just think it also just makes it more of a seller's market, like
absolutely.
we, like we saw with the last two trade deadlines. Like all these middle guys who are, and then these teams, rebuilding teams, are getting like a first or second and all that.
Like insane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then
And
like
speaking,
the third party gets like nothing in return.
yeah, and just looking at assets too, Calgary has like four second rounders this year, which is absolutely
Like insane
ridiculous.
insane stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot what I was gonna mention, but yeah, Mark Stone went on LT IR, so you know it's spring when Mark Stone went back to IR. So
Oh wow.
poking that little joke. So all right, moving on to talking
Mm-hmm.
about games that were kind of played for the Red Wings. Haven't really missed too much to say the least. Got back to Ottawa, or went to Ottawa after the Olympic break. 2-1 victory in overtime. Dylan Larkin scoring both goals. He looked like he was buzzing. You know, not much to really say there. Could kind of point out maybe some flaws. Everybody just kind of getting back, but overall, really good win to kind of come out of the break for the most part. And then we moved to Carolina, 5-2 loss. Looked like for a second that we were going to come back, but
Yeah,
it was
I was
yeah.
about to turn that game off. Then we scored two goals, and
I'm
then
like, wait a minute, like
uh,
maybe
mm-hmm.
maybe there's a chance. Monday we had a win over Nashville 4-2. Offense looked really good 5-on-5 that game. I know we've been really struggling for the most part with the 5-on-5 numbers, and you know that obviously has been a concern. But worth noting in this game, Gibson took a weird puck to his shoulder or his hand, kind of felt weird, exited the game early, and Talbot kind of came in relief, so he played really well. Um, Wednesday, we played Vegas, and Costa got called up on emergency conditions. Obviously, Talbot was not going to play, or sorry, Gibson was not going to go play that game. Still kind of feeling weird after kind of what happened. So Talbot was in net. We had a 3-1 lead, and then Vegas in the third period. They're one of the best third period teams. Come back to get it 3-3, and we lose in overtime after Edmonton
Mm-hmm.
takes a dumb penalty.
I just knew they were gonna tie it then, cause they were working around the cycle. Just we weren't really, I think, covering anybody around the net, and kind of just let Marner get
Mm-hmm.
the loose puck and knock it in.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, Vegas
That
is a
should have
really
been a
good
win.
third period team, considering that they have to
Mm-hmm.
really outscore their opponents. So, um,
But they've struggled against playoff teams too,
exactly too. So
which is also really
funny, haha.
frustrating.
Like
Mm-hmm.
like they do it against us, but um, definitely sucks. You know, you weren't really hoping for that outcome, obviously. And worth noting too, Larkin got absolutely cheap shotted in front of the
Oh
Vegas
yeah.
net too. Exited the game, came back for overtime. He was okay. Go to the Friday's game, the current game. Before this game today on Sunday. Hopefully, have it out by then. But 3-1 loss, Kachuk hat trick. Second game at home. Larkin exits the game after a weird kind of did a like weird movements with his feet and his
Mm-hmm.
knee kind of hyperextended.
I was really scared. It was an ACL, but
Really scary considering
yeah,
Barkov kind of had something similar and Crosby's leg did the same exact thing. So
kind of buckled a little bit.
buckled.
Mm-hmm.
So thankfully, from what McClellan has been saying, it's only day to day, so that's really nice considering that he'll be okay. It's most likely a sprain. We don't know for sure, obviously, but he won't play against New Jersey today. However, we did call up NBN on emergency.
And I've been
Uh,
like screaming to call him up.
he's been really
Like,
good, I think.
yeah,
Um, it's a good showing. He's been on fire as of late in the AHL, and I like what McClellan's been saying about him is he was really impressed with what he did at the start of the year was very physical. Still is very physical. I think he brings a good physical presence to the game. They felt like it was best for his development to go back there, kind of get some good strides, and
Yeah, definitely
he
get
had
him
his
playing.
he looked really good. Then he had his really big cold streak, and then has been on fire. So McClellan's been pretty much saying like, yeah, he's earned that call up, and we're not afraid to do that pretty much, which kind of shows that maybe that's McClellan kind of telling Steve like, hey, these guys can push for roster spots if need be. So really good on him, but
Hmm.
he's slotting in for Larkin wherever that may be in the lineup. Perron obviously probably out for 1 to 2 weeks here, so he'll be back
Hmm.
very soon. Justin Faulk makes his debut tonight, so that will be really interesting to see kind of how he fits into the lineup. I think it should be relatively really good in my opinion. Um, Good test for this team considering that they don't have Larkin, but got to get that 5-on-5 going. If there was a night for MBN to score, I feel like tonight would be the night, especially against
Oh
the
yeah.
Devils team that's goaltending has been very speculative and defense very hot and cold to say the least. So
Hmm.
we'll see kind of how that works out for the most part, but overall, really hoping MBN kind of shows off this game.
Hmm.
I think it would be a really good sign for him to kind of see what he's made of, and if he looks really good, maybe that emergency kind of stays. And I know Shine's been up, but I feel like a guy like Shine could get sent down back again to Grand Rapids, and MBN kind of finds himself in another roster spot for the
Hmm.
rest of the year, which especially for playoff hockey, you need a guy like that. So I feel like his game would translate very well to the Red Wings, especially his physical presence that he brought at the beginning of the year when we were winning as many games as we were. So, anything to add on that?
Yeah. Yeah. Just looking at this roster in like the past couple of games, I haven't been happy. Obviously, our play. I really want us to establish more in offensive possession, in the offensive zone. I feel like we've just been flipping pucks over and parking the bus on the defense, and
And bad
you know,
habits with
yeah.
dump and chase too. I really don't like how
Hmm.
they've been doing that either. I think that's really hurt us.
I also think we've been struggling with breakouts as well. And now looking with Larkin out, it looks like our center depth is really suspect, very suspect right now. We need guys like Cobb and Comfort to really step up.
Especially Comfer, considering
Yeah.
really he's been Mr. Cardio all year, and you need a
Mhm.
guy like Rasmussen to step up. Pretty much anybody in that bottom six on top of MBN, and you're really hoping that Raymond, DeBrincat, and the normal suspects do their work. So
Yeah.
really good test for this group, especially with getting more help on defense with Falk. So we'll kind of see where that leads. Um, excuse me. Um, Kind of going into what I'd probably say our final topic. Kind of just, is there a panic button for the most part for the Wings? I know a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's March. This is it. All the injuries, all these players getting injured. Is it time to hit the panic button?" And I don't know.
I'm still cautiously optimistic. I just really hope we win the games we have to win. We need to win today. Like New Jersey struggled this year, and I hope we get back against Florida. Tampa and Dallas on the road uh, later next week is going to be hard, and then we got the Flames, and then at home, and then a big game against Montreal and Boston that same week, and then Ottawa, obviously in divisional opponents. Buffalo to or the week after that too, and then we finish the month with Philly and Pittsburgh, which
Good.
I hope we get back with
Yeah.
Pittsburgh as
So
well.
the remaining schedule for is Florida, Tampa, Stars, Calgary, Montreal, Boston, Senators, back to back with Buffalo and um, Philly, which is really important. That obviously our back to backs have kind of killed us, but this should be a lot better. And then Pittsburgh on the 31st. Going into April, Philly, Rangers, Minnesota, Columbus, Philly, Jersey, or New Jersey, Tampa, Florida. So big matchups to say the least. And I I know a lot of people have been very skeptical, to say the least, of the Wings, especially in March. Understandably so. I know we were kind of discussing this last night, kind of more, you know, with other Wings friends, but um, for me personally, I think what you've added this year proves this team can do it, considering what they've done all year. Yes, they've had a really hot goalie in John Gibson. He's been phenomenal when he has been playing. Obviously, he was hurt last game, or no, he was in that last game.
Mm.
Kind of got bailed. I wouldn't say bailed out, but you know, the team really wasn't hustling in front of him. And also, benefit of the doubt too was deadline day. You don't have the guys that you added yet in the lineup, so you could tell they definitely needed it for sure. Especially
Hmm.
the last two games, I feel like too. So, um, but in general, I really feel like this team can do it. I think they have every power to do it. It's you just got to get everybody going. I think like I said, the add on Justin Faulk really helps on your defense. It shortens or tightens up your defense core a lot more, makes it so there's less errors, especially with that veteran presence of Sherratt and Falk on that second line. You let Edmondson and Sider do their thing on top of Ajo looking slightly better than he has, and ASP kind of doing his thing, kind of developing as he is. Um, and then in terms of forwards, getting a Perron who is a leader has been a big part of teams previously and pushes for the playoffs. I feel like that adds a lot of good momentum for the room and leadership. So he'll obviously be on the trip to the Jersey today. So um, really really excited for kind of this um, team going forward. I feel like a lot of tough opponents, but they've shown time and time again this whole entire year that they can get it done. I have no worries about them not getting it done. I do. I obviously March.
Hmm.
I'm worried too because obviously March has happened before, but I feel like this team specifically has enough depth, has enough help to, especially after the deadline, to get it done. I know it's hard to be optimistic for sure, but I personally I'm a hopeful optimistic. I've been wrong before, but I really think that this is the year that we can get it done now. Another thing to add is, we do need some other teams to kind of help us out in the East or in the West to kind of beat these other teams kind
Hmm.
of that are kind of keep creeping up on us. Like obviously we're 4 points out technically out of the playoff spot, but if you can at least keep 500 in March on top of 500 in April, that gets you to the playoffs. Whether it's
Hmm.
97 points, 100 points, it doesn't matter. I think you get to that threshold. I don't know when teams start clinching. I would assume it's a little bit later than years previously. It'd probably be beginning second week of April that you kind of see
Hmm.
teams start clinching playoffs, but um, we're almost there, and I truly believe this is the team to get us to that promised land. And looking at the schedule, it's a good test of teams. Like I'd probably say Tampa. Tampa's a good, obviously great team. Tampa's Tampa. Stars, keep on adding. Calgary, Montreal, and Boston are good, really good games, and obviously Buffalo's Buffalo. With the way they've been playing, they're obviously making playoffs unless fall off pending. But a lot of teams are going to make it difficult, really difficult,
Hmm.
and but they got to be up for that challenge. I think. I like I've said it before. I don't care if it's third, second, first, wild card. Like I think they make playoffs.
Hmm.
I I think they just have added enough to where I feel comfortable saying that they have improved the team. So
Hmm. I mean, sorry if I looked worried. It's just that
no, you're
I
good.
just see all these division opponents this upcoming weeks and month, and like, yeah, we just need to lock in and, like you said, get 500, and our goal should be to make the playoffs, and then in the off season build upon what we've
hmm
accomplished.
And
Yeah.
and to say the least to it, there definitely probably will be moves in the off season. Like I don't think I think Eiserman knows that a lot of these guys aren't cutting it, to say the least. Like I know like
Hmm.
a Comfer or a Rasmussen aren't really cutting it. You got to make some tough moves, especially with your prospects coming up. Like I feel like MBN's really pushing for a spot. He should have a spot next year. With Carter Bear too, I could see Carter Bear pushing for a spot, even though
He's been
he
on fire
has been
last
on fire
month.
in Everett.
Hmm.
But it just kind of all depends. I think a lot of prospects are going to be gunning for some jobs, and there is some job security. Like, hey, what's going to happen for the most part? But
And I
um,
feel like Bear could push to be a center too. I feel like I just like the way he kind of supports the defense too. Like on breakouts, on opposing breakouts.
and I think he will, considering
Mm.
like
And he's got some offensive
we
stuff as well.
desperately need the center depth, and
Hmm.
whether that's he's a winger or center, I think they're gonna have to look in the mirror, especially with how they've been looking 5-on-5. Um, just overall, you have to be a lot better 5-on-5. I know that's been killing us as of late, but I
Oh
think
yeah.
power play has been really going too. So obviously, once Perron's back, you get that bumper guy, kind of more of a solid power play penalty kill type guy in the bottom six. But also with the Larkin injury, depending on when he gets back, I would assume it's only one game or 1 or 2 games, depending
That's
on.
what I'm hoping for. Hmm.
From the sounds of it, it sounds like one, because we kind of had the same thing with um, with Gibson. He said day to day, so it kind of all depends. He is on the road trip, so that's a really great sign that
Hmm.
he's okay. He feels okay enough to go on this road trip and really be prepared. So I'm really excited for the stretch. It'll be a really great test. But um, if you did make the playoffs, which hypothetically, if you did, you're probably getting matched up against Montreal or Buffalo. Those are good teams to play against. A really good test, and I think they can make someone's life difficult in the playoffs. It doesn't matter the matchup,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think you got matched up against Tampa. Obviously, the matchup we had in 2016, the last time we made playoffs,
Hmm.
and then
Also, when we play, we have like no pressure at all. They have more pressure, to win it
yeah,
based on their roster. That's why you kind of see. I feel like more of these teams go on magical runs in the NHL than I guess other sports. Kind of just you catch no pun intended
what?
lightning in a bottle.
Yep,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that, but yeah, no, it, it's really it's really key to get, like I said, get things going. I think
Hmm.
I keep repeating myself at this point, but um, especially with this team, if you get them going, like they're going on all motors. So I think, and I know you're mentioning like lightning in a bottle with playoffs. Anything can happen, especially in the East and how tight it's been. I feel like
Hmm.
every team, if you play them in a 7-game series, there is a chance you could beat them. And I'm not saying that if the Wings make the playoffs, they're gonna get to the second round. I just, with how hockey has been the last couple of years, and especially with how tight the East is, anything can happen, especially in these
Hmm.
playoffs. I think Dayton posted something. This could be the most weirdest playoffs we've seen in a long time, and I'm all
It's an
for it.
interesting pool. Yeah, definitely a lot more new teams.
Which is what you want. That's how you
Hmm.
get better viewership too in the NHL. You don't want the same teams making it over and over again. Then it just becomes like football or baseball.
Or yeah, like you have Utah now. Anaheim looks like they're back.
They they were struggling for a bit, but man,
Yeah,
have they been scoring in waves? And obviously
they
they
they've been
they
a fun
almost didn't
team.
help us. They kind of did,
Hmm.
kind of didn't. They let Montreal get a point, but
Yeah.
um, to say the least, very interesting year. Technically, if we were to get matched up in playoffs, we are the first wild card. I don't know who we technically would verse,
I
but
think it's either Carolina or Tampa,
uh,
unless Buffalo's first now.
they're tied. So it'd be
Oh.
either. But well, we're the first wild card. I don't know
Hmm.
the
It would be
second wild card. hmm
the lower first seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'd verse like the Penguins or something like that, which it'd be really interesting to see any sort of series, because I mean,
Hmm.
You want LCA to be rocking though for sure.
Oh yeah,
Which
I it's been a different atmosphere this year. I'd say
uh,
like, there's definitely a lot more people. I feel like there's something in the air.
now the only thing I will complain about is there are no red seats at LCA. That's just me.
Mm,
It doesn't feel like Wings hockey if there's no red seats, but obviously like it's a multi-sport complex. You got the Pistons there, so you
hmm
can't really do that. But that's just a funny complaint. But no, you just need that atmosphere. You need Detroit to hockey to be back pretty much, which I think for the most part we're getting really close to having that back. So uh,
hmm
prayers to hopefully March doesn't turn out like a complete shit show, and
Just
hoping
survive,
just
survive in
survive.
advance.
Yeah, if you literally play above 500 hockey or at least 500 hockey in March, you're good. You're gonna lose games, and I think that's another thing that a lot of people forget, especially people who are overreacting. Good teams lose games. Does it
hmm
suck to lose? Yes. But do teams bounce back? Yes. That's the way of hockey. Is if you lose a couple games in a row, most likely those teams are going to bounce back. And I think New Jersey, if they can win it in New Jersey, it'll be a good bounce back, especially going into Florida territory and trying to get their lick back a little bit. So,
hmm
all right. Anything else you want to kind of add or?
I think that's about it. I just hope this team could turn it around. Just get some. I just want to see a different type of game coming for the rest of this month because I just have been liking the way we've been playing. Been a little frustrated. Just get more scoring, and I definitely could see our defense getting better with Faulk coming in, and like I said, we got Gibson. He's been really hot this year, so like I just want to see a change, and then I feel like we'll be fine
I think there
here
will
on
be.
out.
Like I
hmm
mean, if you help out your goaltender, 95%
Yeah.
of the time you're going to win games. So I feel like you got a lot more defensive help, and I think everybody knows the pressure of this game, and I think that the team knows it. So
hmm
definitely got to get that momentum swinging for sure. But yeah, I'd say a pretty damn good episode to say the least in terms of kind of topics to talk about. I know we
hmm
talked about a lot about kind of what the Wings did, but and to all you people saying, "Oh, those were bad moves," I thought they were great moves. I think a lot of people are upset that we got rid of prospects and picks, but you can't hoard picks and prospects forever. I think we're the
hmm
only team in Detroit to trade a first round pick because the Lions haven't done it, the Tigers certainly haven't done it, and
Can't really in baseball,
and
but
I think the
same
Pistons.
principle.
I think the Pistons pretty much just like I forgot what it is, but I think they swapped first round picks or something like that with Minnesota.
Mm.
Something still not the same thing, but
Like Eiserman finally jumped the gun on
he's creating
making
the
splash
narrative,
moves.
right? Why couldn't Brad Holmes do that with Max Crosby?
Mm.
that
Uh,
that's frustrating to me.
that was a little bit hefty, though. I feel like.
Okay, but in terms of window, look at the window that the Lions are in. Like they got
Oh
what two,
yeah,
3 more years of contention. Max Crosby fits
I'd say
that
3.
probably 3. He fits that mold. He has like a 2, 3 more years on probably 2 more years on his deal.
Mm.
I'd say go for it, but obviously Ravens put themselves in a great situation to get Max Crosby, and poor Joe Burrow has to go up against
Oh yeah.
the 3 of the best defensive players in the division twice a year.
Oh man.
So
They need an O-line, old
they
guy.
that won't
The
happen.
Bengals. Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Hockey in the 313 podcast. I'm your host Keegan, joined by Zach, and above all, guys, let's go Red Wings, and let's make March a great month.
hmm Enjoy March Madness.
That too.
Mhm.